wanting to rank aircraft just a different way, okay? Because everybody was like, "Well, this is the best. You got to fly this one. This is the best. This is only the best. You can't fly anything else." I don't believe that. I like flying different varieties of aircraft and stuff, and I believe every aircraft's got its own pluses and minuses. All right, so what composite CPR is just how capable is this aircraft against similar aircraft, okay? And I'm not talking about a bomber from 1950 up against a bomber today. Okay, I'm talking about a bomber from 1947 up against a bomber from 1948. Okay, so it's an even playing field. That's how I rated the aircraft. And in Sky Pilot, you can see this, and you can compare the aircraft that way. When you first come into Norden, if you go to the Combat Power Board, you'll see this CPR, combat CPR used, and in the front end of the loadout, you'll see it. This is before anything's done, before you do loadouts, and before you do the mission. This is what your airframe is capable of in combat. Now, mission CPR is your loadout, what you put on the wings, plus what the mission is. Okay, if the mission's cast and you got a bomber, you're not going to score very well. Okay, so that's how I did that. Now, why was CPR created? I kind of went into that, but why did I do it the way that I did? Well, if I did it pure mathematically, you wouldn't believe it, because there's so many outliers, which means zero, guys out at 0 and 10 and 90 and 100. There was nobody in between, and it didn't rate aircraft very well. So I had to get rid of some anomalies in the math and try to figure out the best pluses and minuses for each type of aircraft. So I was able to do that, and you'll see how I designed it. Composite CPR prioritizes combat usefulness, visual stability, and I'm not talking about visual stability. God, that A-10 is beautiful up against this F-16. Actually, it's probably vice versa in some people's eyes. Not in mine. A-10's the best. Anyhow, role communication. And what about a role communication is it a striker? Is it a bomber? And how effectively does it fit into that role? And believable aircraft profile over statistical purity. Okay, and statistical purity was on the left. That's where it came from. That's why I didn't like the numbers I was getting. So this is the way I measured it. Speed, okay, how fast it can go forward. Acceleration, how fast it can get going. 0 to 60 and 10 seconds. Well, not 10 seconds, but whenever they go in speed racers, cars. And vertical performance, how fast it can go up. Turn, left, right, up, down, how fast it can get going in that direction, change direction. Firepower, here's differences in what firepower and ordnance are. Firepower is what an airframe carries organically. Like it was built with a 30 millimeter gauze cannon in the front, and that's what it has for firepower. Versus putting something on the wings, which is ordnance. Okay, so firepower, the way I rank it, the way I calculate it, is the projectile mass. Is it like 30 millimeter times the rounds per second times how many weapon mounts, and that gives you how much lead downrange, right? The maximum usable payload capacity is the ordnance. That means how much fire TNT equivalency can it carry. Okay, and then we got, why was combat CPR rated? Well, got into Norden and started doing it after Sky Pilot. Let me show you Sky Pilot, where these scores are, right here. See these scores? You'll see them everywhere. Every time you open up an aircraft or anything, there's the CPR right there. It's also up here in the upper left-hand corner, but then I break it down by speed, climb, acceleration, turn time, So that's broken out for you there. And it's also, those numbers are actually broken out again, telling you, hey, this is the average. The average is 5.6, and we're below that at 5.4. So it got a lot of information right in this little block up here, and a lot of people won't pay attention to it. They'll be looking at the pictures over here. No, they won't be. But when you click on that aircraft, looking at these numbers is extremely important, and then looking at this radar chart is extremely important too, because that your CPR plays into that. Okay, as you look at different aircraft. Okay, and then so when I got into Norden, I was like, we've got to rank these things out a little bit better. Of course, it says a bomber should not be judged like a fighter. Of course not. So how did I do this? Well, I did it by using kinematic performance, how well a platform moves. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. Mission lethality, how much combat effect can it deliver? Role, was it a fighter, a striker, bomber? And then precision capability, does it have CCRP and CCRP? Or does it have a targeting pod attached to it? Okay, before we go any further, kinematics is the branch of physics and classical mechanics that describe the motion of objects, specifically covering displacement, velocity, and acceleration. How fast can it go from A to B? How fast can it get there? And how fast it can get going to get there. Okay, and then mission lethality, 60%. Oh, I mean, 100% combat power is made up of 1 to 100. And its performance, if it performs really well, it gets a 40. If its mission lethality is not so good, maybe it gets a 70. 70 all the way across the board. So the way I did that is this is how I did the kinematic performance. I gave 10% to each movement category: speed, climb, acceleration, turn, and I divided it by 4, and I got an average. And that average went into here to give me the up to a 40%. And then because you see, if it was 100, the climb rate was always 100 and all these were hundreds, this would be at 40%, but it's not going to reach that very often. Then mission lethality, how did I score that? Well, I gave fighters 90% firepower, because that's where you get your most bang for your buck on a fighter, and 10% ordnance. Strike cast aircraft, 50%, 50%, because they need both, because they're multi-role. Bombers, 100% ordnance, just everything on bombs. And then our fallback, if it didn't fit into any of these three classical categories, I fall back to 50-50. Combat CPR, precision and fair comparison. Okay. So if aircraft had a targeting pod, or it had a ballistic computer doing CCIP and CCRP, it'll increase the lethality by 15%, and that's, of course, it only gets up to 100% of mission lethality. And then the peer group rule: era plus role plus subtype. Every aircraft is normalized against the full population of similar aircraft. Okay, which means all the bombers from era or rank 1 or rank 5, era 5, not just a small batch of the new guys on the block. Why this matters? So every time that I get a new batch of aircraft, I don't do it by onesies and twosies. Usually it's every 90 days or so when they come out with a big batch. And I'll take that aircraft, and I'll take all those 10 aircraft, and I'll break it out, and I will not just rate those 10 aircraft, say, there you go, guys. I'll take those 10 aircraft and rate them, and then I'll bring them into the population, and I'll rate all our aircraft all over again. So you may see 95 on an aircraft today, and it might be 92 tomorrow, because the other aircraft have come in and messed things up for that aircraft. Now, why was mission CPR was created? Well, mission's important, right? Number one, uh, you get base platform. Okay, we got the base platform done. We got the loadout done. Now we talking about profile, altitude, speed, and delivery. The method of delivery. Then the type and health of the target, plus the environmental conditions that contribute to it while they're in threat. So if I execute this strike package, how capable am I going to be to put lead on target? And how much lead can I put on target? Okay, here's an example. The one on the right, I had, I can't remember what ordinance it was, but I had the ordinance that Strike Package Council recommended. And I went in and I chose that as my starting point. And then I went in and chose the aircraft that the ordinance that I wanted to use on this mission. Well, you see, Strike Package Council beat me out for sure because the aircraft stayed the same. So all these one, two, three, four, five axes stayed exactly the same, except for what changed? Mission fit. The mission fit because I changed the target. So when I was going to put this AGM on the target, that was great over here, but it didn't fit the mission. It's a lousy choice for hitting that target or in that weather condition, et cetera, et cetera. So let me show you where you come across, just so you know where. Did I close it? Yeah, I closed it. That's all right. You'll know when you go into combat power into Norden exactly where you are, because that's where that is in Norden. That is where the combat power board. Here, I'll just do it real quick. Oh, you got to hit this button every time you go in. Combat power board. Here it is. This is your combat power rating right here. Your combat CPR right here. All these numbers right there. Okay, and you can rank them, stack them, move them around as you want inside the combat power board, so you get your pick of which aircraft's the best. Remember, it's just the best on the numbers that I use. Maybe you want to use your own methodology. Go to Loadout Manager. If you look up here in the upper left-hand corner, that was your preliminary capability CPR. How is it capable of in this mission? And then over here, you got your mission CPR. Okay, and then when we go to Strike Package Council, this is where our mission CPR plays a role. Okay. And here's the 6 weighted categories for mission CPR. Kinematics, which we already talked about. Ordnance, remember that's how much on the wings. Standoff, how far away can I get away from this guy? The target. Better distance, better range, the better way of delivery. Weapon effect. How much TNT, guided effectiveness, and the weapon effect on the target. Is it an anti-armor piercing or is it just a regular bomb? Precision. Guidance profile. I mean, is it cloudy weather for a laser bomb? Yeah. Well, then your confidence is gonna take a hit. Mission fit. Is this whole thing here fit for this weapon target? I mean, this target, and the delivery is matching the way that best suits to keeping the aircraft safe. Okay. Mission CPR. What changes the score? Well, threat level. Here's what changes the score. Attack technique trade-offs. And you can see this chart. It's a pretty cool chart. I'm going to put this on the website so you guys can download it and keep it handy so you can, well, I don't know. You may want to keep it handy, maybe not. But if you look up in the upper right-hand corner, types of delivery. If you don't know this, which I did not know till I started playing the game and looking at different delivery, that there was different delivery method. I just thought, hey, I do level release all the time. That's what I thought you do. Okay, for different, there are different types of delivery, and like I said, I didn't know that when it first started, but you got level release, then you've got uh, different types of releases based on the different types of target threats that there are. If you're going after a convoy, maybe a shallow dive would be the best, most effective. Level release, high threat, uh, close in, uh, close in release. And so these are the scoring methods that I use for each one of the different types: loft toss, the standoff, and low level. Loft toss is when you raise the nose of your aircraft to try to get more. You can actually get more distance out of your ordnance by using this method. So I'm told. I don't. I've never used it. I would like to once I learn how to do it. Once somebody teaches me how to do it. And then target plus weather. How does that affect soft target, runway, ship, hardened target, and weather always affects confidence and suitability for like the type of weapon that you're using. So here's the complete story, okay? Composite CPR was just created just so I can look at the aircraft and say, you know what, this is a pretty decent aircraft based on the other aircraft of this era. It just compared the platforms to one another. Combat CPR judged the potential of the platform in a combat environment. And then mission CPR decided whether this aircraft with this ordnance at this time, with this weather, fit the mission. So a lot of things to take into consideration, but hopefully this helps you choose your aircraft and make decisions for your upcoming battles that you have. All right, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.